Hey guys, Bill the Kansas Flamingo Chef, and no, this is not about food, and it's not about whiskey, even though I have some. Today we're going to talk about something else I really enjoy, and that's golf, but specifically golf balls. So a good friend of mine just recently decided at 54 years of age that he wants to learn to play golf. And that's great, but he had a lot of questions that he was asking me. And one of the questions was, why are there so many different golf balls? Why are there so many prices? And I was trying to break down for him the difference in a two-piece and a three-piece golf ball. So I kind of wanted to share that with some other people as well. Simply put, the biggest difference between a two and three-piece ball, without getting into the mechanics we'll talk about in a moment, is a three-piece ball is for a lower handicap, better player that wants more spin off the ball and more control on the green and is willing to sacrifice some of the long hitting of that solid feel of the ball. We're looking for a softer feel, where a newer player, a lower handicap, or excuse me, a higher handicap, or a lower swing speed, generally, and as you get older as well, will go to a two-piece ball, sacrificing some of that feel and the softness of the putting and the spin to get distance. So if you look at a three-piece ball, generally they are going to be more expensive. Okay, that's the first and foremost thing you're going to notice. But why is it called a two-piece? Why is it called a three-piece? And what's the difference between a Surlyn cover versus a urethane? So urethane is a softer material. Surlyn is harder. It's more durable. So when you're hitting 37 trees and knocking balls into the water, you're not as concerned about it. Where urethane doesn't hold up as well, but it's much softer, it's playable, and it has a lot more spin. On the inside of a two-piece ball, they're all generally the same. So this is a ball I've cut in half. This is a Callaway Super Soft. They come in crazy colors like this bright pink. This one happens to be the neon red. But when you cut one open, if you look at the inside, you see there's two parts. There's the outer layer, that red section, and then the inner layer, the white. That white is a pretty dense material, and that's what gives you that zing. When you hit it with the driver, it goes longer. This outside, what makes the Super Soft interesting is it's a softer cover, so it putts a little better. You sacrifice a little bit of distance that you would get on something like this ball. This is a Salinger Money. Now this ball, you can hit it a country mile because that stuff is hard as a rock, and so is that Surlyn cover. But it has no spin whatsoever, no greenside feel. When you put it, it sounds like a brick. If you've ever heard that sound, that's what this ball does. But if you want that, hit it a million miles, this might be the ball for you. But if you want more spin and you still want to stay in a two-piece ball, this is probably a better option. Now this ball will set you back about $12 to $13 for 18 of them. This ball is going to be around $24 a dozen. Now, what if we get, let's look at some more two-piece balls before we get into a three-piece. Max Fly Noodle is a ball that's very kind of in between these two. It's a little softer than the Money, not near as soft as the Super Soft, but hits a long way with that two-piece design. And notice the different colors of the insides of these balls, the different materials. It's kind of fun to cut them open sometimes and see what's in them. Here's another Max Fly ball. This one is called it used to be called the Revolution. They've changed the name of it. I forget what they call it now. The Rev Solid. Yeah, for years it was the Revolution. And that's got the same design, really, that green interior, a little softer outside. This ball is very comparable to this Callaway ball. So when you get into three-piece balls are going to be a lot softer. And they're not going to go as far. But generally speaking, you're going to have kind of the same design in the three-piece. There's some variations. So this one, this is a Max Fly. This is the Tour CG, I believe it's called. Yeah. So this has a matte finish cover, so not shiny, which is a little weird. This ball is a matte finish also, but with the bright color, it's not as noticeable. But the inside is three pieces. So you can see, the outer white, and then you have a dark green circle, and then the lighter green center. This core is softer than any of these, even though it's a very similar material to what Max Fly uses in this other ball. But then you have a slightly harder material around the outside to make it more durable, but to give you that compression so you get more spin. When you go into some other three-piece balls, Bridgestone, this is a E6. It's one of the least expensive three-piece balls I've seen. This one's around $24 a dozen. But you can see it has almost a mocha inside color and then kind of a almost green mantle layer, and then a pretty thick outer layer. This ball is extremely durable. I don't like the spin on this ball at all. It's more like a two-piece. Then we get into one of those balls that everybody thinks is the greatest ball in golf, the Kirkland ball. This is the Costco Kirkland ball. It was designed to emulate the Titleist Pro V1. Plays very similar, not quite as long, and this outside cover is so soft that I can only get about 9 holes out of one of these balls. But you can see nice bright red color with kind of a green mantle around that, and then a fairly thick, by three-piece ball standards, outside urethane. But it is a nice three-piece ball for a little lower handicap. But here's a great thing about this ball. Now, if you're a high handicapper, and I realize it's very enticing to buy this because of the price of the product, but if you're not at this point where you're looking for spin, don't waste your money on this. Stay in the two-piece ball for a little while. But for a lower handicapper that's looking to save some money, these balls, you get 2 dozen for about $28, which is nuts. And they do play very well. They just don't last well. Another really popular ball is the Callaway ball here. This is the Chrome Soft, and now they've got a couple of new ones also. But it's kind of an interesting inside. Actually, if you open this up and feel it, it's kind of cool. Look at that. Isn't that bizarre? So you've got a very thin outer piece and then a pretty thick secondary. But what I find is weird, it's not perfectly balanced. And that's why I guess I've never really liked this ball, because it always feels like it's not balanced right. Well, when you open it up, you see why. It's not evenly poured. And then this core almost feels like an old pink eraser. It's so soft. So that's where you're getting the softness there. I've got a few other balls in here that are kind of popular. So this is a Vice Pro. It's supposed to be a three-piece ball. Not a real fan of this ball. It's okay. Well, let's take a look at it. If I can get it in my device here. Good gracious. There we go. Okay. If you ever wondered how somebody cuts one of these open, that's how you do it. All right. There we go. So it is a three-piece ball, but it's a very interesting inside. So it's not, I get it now. Boy, that is an odd material. So very, very thin cover, very, very thin inner layer, and then a huge soft center. The ball comes off the tee well. I've never been a real fan of how it spins, so now I kind of get it. So this one is kind of fun for higher handicappers. TaylorMade does some neat stuff with the designs. If you want a ball, this is a two-piece, but I'm telling you, this is a fun ball to play. Lower handicappers, you're not going to like this ball. It putts well, feels terrible off the tee, because it just is. If you're a higher swing speed, you'll crush the ball, but it's not going where you want it to go. Same thing with the Super Soft. And then you have this guy, and I've been wanting to see the inside of one of these for a while, so we're going to cut one open. This is a Shrixon Q Star. And the Q Star it's a matte finish, 2-color ball. I love these balls, especially in the low light situations in the fall. And they're really nice to line up a putt, but I've always wondered what the inside looks like. So let's take a look. And well, that's interesting. So it's, wow, this is weird. Okay, so this is actually a 3-piece ball, but it doesn't look like it when you first cut it. So it's got a huge inner core, but this outer piece is actually, it's like an elastic almost. And if you peel it back, you can see there is a mantle in there. Wow, look at that. Now that is not all one color. There's a bridge here where that was connected. So that is actually a 3-piece ball. And this is the thinnest outer cover I think I've ever seen. I mean, that is just, wish I had a micrometer, but that is unbelievably thin. And it's really, really strong too. So I do like this ball. Now I'm starting to see why. Because you've got that really thin outer layer, which does get beat up, don't get me wrong, but you've got this second layer that is also super thin, and then this huge soft core. This ball plays really well. Anyway, I hope that might be educational in some way, shape, or form for somebody. If you're new to golf, I know it can be confusing with all the crazy stuff there is to know about the game and all the things there are as far as equipment. And I will tell you this, 2 things that are going to matter for your game more than anything else. Yeah, it's great to learn how to have a perfect swing and go out and buy the most expensive driver and all those crazy things. But the 2 things that are in your bag that matter more than anything else are the ball and the putter. Because as the old saying goes, you drive for show and you putt for dough. So if you're going to blow a lot of money on one club, spend it on a really good putter and make sure you really like the golf ball you're playing. Until next time, if there's something you'd like me to make, talk about, show you, all you got to do is drop me a line, Bill@kansasflamingochef.com. I'm going to enjoy my Eagle Rare, and I'll see you on the next one.